Do the yellow.
You want me to do?
Yeah, will you beat me?
Okay.
All right. Oh shit, we should talk before we do the beepers. Now we are gonna be shooting more than one round, so now the grip part's gonna become very, very important to do consistently. Everybody I saw is holding the gun like this, at least with their dominant hand, in terms of the position. Now, what I want to emphasize here is instead of thinking about controlling the gun or making the gun do the thing you want with how hard you hold it, just maintain a consistent connection to the gun. So what that means to me is the gun's not going to slide around inside my hand like this under recoil. Instead, I'm going to grip it hard enough that it is not moving, like my hand is connected to the gun, right? Once I do that, I do not need to hold it harder with my hands. As a matter of fact, it's not really going to do anything positive for me. It's actually going to be counterproductive. Consider the harder you grip down with your fingers like this, the more difficult it is to move this one quickly and independently. So in a sense, you want to grip it as loose as you can force yourself to do it, especially when you're shooting fast. Like most adult males will find, well, they'll like say, hey man, I feel like I'm hardly holding onto it, but that gets them the best results. Now you're still going to hold onto it when they're under recoil with the gun bucking around. You're still going to hold it hard. But again, in a sense, I would strive to hold it as loose as I can force myself to do it. That's typically going to get you the best results. Now with your support hand, you've got this void here on the frame of the gun. I need to get my hand on that void and connect to the frame of the pistol. How hard I hold my fingers is irrelevant. It's not going to do anything for me. I need to actually get on the pistol. I like running my finger into the trigger guard like this, wrapping it around and clamping down onto the grip, again, to have a consistent connection so the gun will never slide around inside of my hand. Now, what's really important with these pressures as I hold the pistol is that I'm consistent, right? Consistency is key here, rather than applying more and more force. So you'll see maybe some weird stuff for me, like my thumbs will float off the side of the gun, not touching it at all. The reason is, as soon as you start applying pressure with your thumbs, like that's cool if you want to do that, but it's got to be consistent. And you're going to find it probably more difficult to do more. I always find I can be lazy way more consistently than do stuff. I can sit and do nothing way more consistently than doing something.
You're a real natural.
I am. I feel like I'm a natural at it. So like the thumbs like that, just like have my thumbs float off the gun, try to do nothing with them. Because again, as soon as I start applying input with the thumbs, it has to be the same every time. I prefer my support hand position like this instead of like this or like this. Because again, like this is fine. You want to shoot this way, but the pressure has to be consistent. You start changing the pressure with your pointer finger on your support hand. Now I'm steering the muzzle around. All right, so consider the objective here is a consistent connection rather than crush the fuck out of gun to make the gun do what I want. Does that make sense? All right, now we're gonna do the same exercise we just did, like one shot return, except it's gonna be 2 shots. And in a sense, we're gonna look at the target, fire 2 rounds. The second round is not tied to a sight picture. I'll demonstrate that in a second. Instead, I'm just gonna pull the trigger twice, about as fast as I can. The second round that you fire is gonna be like the proof that the grip held together and the amount of input for the recoil return was correct, if that makes sense. It's just kind of validating what we're already doing. Should we give it a try, Joel?
I think it sounds like a good idea.
All right. All right. So watch the gun here. Aim at a spot on the target.
Stand by.
So as you can see there, that is not what I just articulated I want to do. I'm seeing the dot go up, come down, stabilize, look like a dot again, and then pulling the trigger again. Instead, I want you to fire 2 rounds really aggressively where it is not tied to a sight picture. The second round, you're just going to pull the trigger. Now, you should retrospectively be able to tell what the sight did and where it was, you know, and it should line up with what you're seeing on the target. Let me make an example there.
Stand by.
Okay, I'll give you some bad ones. What am I doing wrong?
Not returning.
Okay. Yeah, that's really consistently messed up. All right.
Good work.
Perfect. Okay, so I gave you some good examples. I'm shooting aggressively and the sight's tracking right back. What caused this? Yeah, I just followed the dot up and it went just tracked up in recoil. Instead of look at spot you want, gun will come back to where I'm looking. The same is really intuitively, like if you use a mouse, like look at the thing you want. You're like, look there, pointer will track to where you're looking. You don't need to think about moving your hand around the mouse pad. Here, pushing the gun left. This is most commonly when people put in too much input into the gun. It'll be their dominant hand, like pushing down too much after the first round, too much input, and the second round will go somewhere we don't want, okay? So what we want is stare at spot, pull the trigger twice aggressively, keep your attention on the spot there, and put in the exactly correct amount of input. If you do that, everything should track right back. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay.
Cool. Let's do it.